Thomas Paine once wrote, in the age of reason, that many good men have believed this strange fable of Christianity and lived very good lives under that belief, for credulity is not a crime, is what I have no doubt of. In the first place, they were educated to believe it, and they would have believed anything else in the same likewise manner. There are also many who have been enthusiastically enraptured by what they conceived to be the infinite love of God to man in making a sacrifice of himself that the vehemence of the idea has forbidden and deterred them from examining into the absurdity and profaneness of the story. The Alpha and Omega are the Aleph and Omicron. These were the starting seasons for growth. The ancient Sumerians and everyone, actually. It's where we get Alpha and Omega from, Aleph and Om, which used to be the name for the lamb, or Aries as we know of it. But it was changed to Ayin. So this is your Alpha and Omega, is the full wheel of the zodiac. I am there before and after. I am enduring. I have been sentient through many cycles. The bull was an ancient symbol for the day, just like a chicken or a rooster crows for the morning, beckoning the day on. This was seen as sacred to a lot of people that were sun worshippers. I've recently did a whole video about this symbology that we have here in front of us. Abraxas. Yao is shown in a few of the depictions that I gave in that, and is shown here again. This is the ancient name for the sun, and Alpha and Omega, or Omicron, are the first and the last letters of our alphabet that we used to have before we twisted it in and gave it 26 different letters. This is also a symbol of the sun, as I said before, with I of Yao being the sun. You wonder how that attaches to the Alpha and Omega, and it attaches to Jesus' idea. I've shown you Jesus is actually a solar deity and was conflagrated into that, and they made certain of it with so many tellings, and one that sticks out among many is him calling forth that he was the Alpha and the Omega. In our modern science time, we might understand that the sun kicking off is what made this whole solar system, therefore gave rise to the gods, which used to be thought of as wandering stars that we know as planets. So it comes back to that original star worship in the first place, because there are stars all around. This is ours. It was the beginning of the whole thing that happened 4.32 billion years ago, a sacred geometry number, and it will be the end whenever it finally gets up to exploding into a red giant and taking out the earth long before. It will be the first and the last thing of this solar system. It is the Alpha and the Omega. Jesus was portrayed as such, and if you ever read it through, if you'll replace the word S-O-N with S-U-N, it might make more sense. Can you see him in the Orion pose here also, with the bow out front but the flail in back? A few of the depictions I showed you before of him have the golden fleece draped over. You can tell here that his serpents for legs do end in Aries symbols. The Alpha and Omega, the entire zodiac, round through a full cycle. Whether you think of it as the yearly cycle and a solar cycle that we're under, or you know of the great year that lasts 26,800 years or so. Each one we're going through signs of the zodiac. And this God had apparently, at the time of this recording, had been the same God for a full cycle. That sun worship and the origin of it was the origin of religions. Especially after the last ice age and the things that happened. Coming out of that into a refruition. It's the beginning and the end of every religion that's attached to the ancient Aryans that brought it to everybody. And the people already understood it because they had something like this from thousands of years ago, and it just made it a deeper, more esoteric thing. I am the Alpha, I am the Omega. We were here before any of this crap. We'll be here long after this crap. Seemingly all started and coming into fruition at bull worship and the time of Aries, after the time of Taurus. But that's whenever writing was established. This was going on well before, as I've shown you many times. Taurus is depicted in Lascaux Caves 35,000 years ago, depicting the same depiction as here, and Aldebaran lines up to the bull's eye and so on, just as it did. When we speak of Baal, it has to do with bull worship, and it all had to do with the sun, the Alpha and the Omega. It's what science has today to show us that happened. Stars fire up, burn all around, things went around, the gravity changed, it pulled in the planets, it changed things, things hit planets, some got pushed out by the solar winds and turned into our outer asteroid belts. Other ones got pulled in, one slammed into Earth, and the remnant of which is our asteroid belt that we have today. And that joining of Tiamat and Bahamut, as was told in one of the tales, were dragons, showing that the Sumerians definitely had that idea going too. All are related to the sun. You can see this in the Ouroboros, where a snake is coiled up around biting his tail, used for the same symbology of a round sun. The sun disk of the Sumerians, the Egyptians, and so on. It's right in your face the whole time, and people are trying to say, oh, they had all this extra stuff. Yeah, they had turned it all into this extra stuff. And when it gets back to Jesus, it goes back to that same idea where they originally had a sky god, or all-father, and his son, the Son, had created the earth in the original Proto-Indo-European concept that swept through every one of these people. It is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end of all things.